Hi, everybody. This is my first live stream on YouTube. I have plenty of videos posted, but I haven't tried a live stream before. So hopefully this will be fine. Hiya, Deborah. It's good to see you. You seem to be in no man's land. I think people will be joining us pretty soon. I think this is getting a promotion. A lot of promotion, mainly on Twitter, I think. Anyway, please ring the notification bell. Share, like, and subscribe bell. That'll probably help this channel really get going on YouTube. On YouTube, and so I'd be grateful. Anyway, I've been proposing now for some time that what the squad should do is not just what Jimmy Dore suggested, which is basically trade its votes for Medicare for All, the floor vote. But I've thought from the start that was selling their support far too cheaply, since they, at this point, control whether Pelosi becomes the next speaker or not. What I thought would be better, thank you, Deborah, what I thought would be better is, hey, Dolores, how are you doing? Great to see you here. Little new platform, I think. How's my sound, by the way? Does it sound okay? Since the first time I've live streamed on here, I would appreciate if you could tell me that. Anyway, for some time I felt that was selling the support of the squad far too cheaply. What the squad should be asking for is for Pelosi to step down, because I think her rule of the Democratic Party, certainly since 2009, and perhaps in 2007 and 2008 as well, has been rather toxic. No, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Dolores. Okay, it's really great to know. It was toxic during the fight over reforming our healthcare system in 2009 and 2010. It was toxic when she, more than anyone else, did more than anyone else to pass the egregious Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as the ACA. Why? Why do I feel that way about the ACA? Well, between 2010 and 2016, I personally estimated myself that 356,000 fatalities occurred because the Democrats chose to pass the ACA instead of trying to pass a Medicare for All bill. Now, some people will say, that's baloney. They could never have passed a Medicare for All bill. Come on, that's not true. They had large enough majorities in both houses of Congress early in 2009 to have passed a Medicare for All bill, H.R. 676. They didn't want to. Obama, with Pelosi's help and the help of various people in the Senate, killed any possibility of getting Medicare for All back then. And they wasted more than a year fighting over healthcare reform. Then they delivered the entirely inadequate Affordable Care Act that more than anything else, was responsible for their getting swamped during the elections of 2010. Then the Republicans were off to the races. And the races still haven't ended. Still haven't ended. The last 9 years have been framed by the failure of the Democrats in 2009 and 2010. The failure to pass a recovery bill that brought a quick recovery from the crash, the failure to pass a Medicare for All bill, the failure to even take up any climate bills. Hiya, Teresa. It's great to see you here. Thank you very much for coming. So, I've always felt that she was part of that big failure. And I was always very sorry to see her emphasize pay-go and austerity all through this period. Then in 2018, big victory for the Democrats. She gets back into power. The first thing she does is reinstall pay-go. Reinstall pay-go. And do more than anybody else to shackle the squad in 2019 and 2020. It's incredible to me that they would in any way contemplate supporting her now. Now, I think the expanded squad, the 4 members who first joined, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Anne Marie Newman, and Mondaire Jones. I expect the last 2 to join the squad. I'm certain the first 2 new ones are going to join the squad. So, probably 8 squad votes. 8 squad votes are enough to block the re-election, of Nancy Pelosi. No matter how many ballots the re-election attempt actually goes. And there may be many ballots, but if the 8 stick together, they can force Nancy Pelosi to give someone else a chance to lead the caucus. And that person, someone in the center of the caucus, is likely to be much more open to the squad, much more attentive to the squad, much more attentive to the progressive allies of the squad, and to deliver much more influence to progressives in the Democratic Party in the House than Nancy Pelosi ever would. It's not a matter of making a deal with Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy Pelosi can't be trusted. After helping to inflict austerity on the American people for so long, she needs to go. Her posturing, her styles, they're so far from democracy. They're weird. Kneeling with kente cloths and doing nothing. Clapping like this for Trump. Come on. This is not serious stuff. It's all empty symbolism. She never gets people on the record. When she legislated the CARES Act with Mitch, the CARES Act was a money bill. She let Mitch frame the money bill. He gave her a framework. He gave her a bill. then she basically added things to that bill that she wanted. She did not consult with the caucus. She did not give the progressives in the caucus a voice in structuring that bill at all until the end. Then some measures were put in, but there was such pressure to pass the bill because of the crashing, of the economy. And also because this bill came at a critical time. It came during the time when everything was collapsing and when Bernie was giving in. It was just a few weeks after. Just a few weeks after he had his collapse. He probably wasn't even paying attention at the time. Not his usual close attention, I don't think. She took advantage of that particular situation. Okay? And basically, he got to press for the $600 plus up, but he didn't really understand the structure of that bill. She did not understand the structure of that bill either. I'm sure neither of them understood they were signing on to a $4.6 trillion money cannon for the big businesses, for the wealthy. So this is all background to why we ought to be replacing Pelosi. Earlier this evening, I posted a video on YouTube dealing with the mechanics of how the vote would go and what happens after the first ballot, and trying to illuminate what kind of space the eight people had to block her. I'm not going to go through that again here, but I wanted to do this live stream. Oh, I should mention, I also tried to answer a lot of questions, in that particular video that had arisen on Twitter and in response to the other live stream. I did. I guess I should say the other video I did. The short take, the 30-minute short take. My other short take today was 39 minutes. Oops. Not as short, as it should have been. And Rob says, hey, Yoda, you live on YouTube? Yeah, I am live on YouTube, Rob. The first time I've been live here. It works like a charm. There's no problem at all with it. So anyway, I'm here for Q&A at this point. I'm here for Q&A on the proposal to get rid of Nancy, to allow another leader to surface who will be open to the progressives and open to the squad. And I'm just here to take your questions, about the proposal. Yes, you find that video under my name. Go to Joseph Firestone. That's my channel, on YouTube. Rob says, oh my God, really, finally. And Teresa said, I linked on from Facebook. Thank you, Teresa. Yep. I'm here finally. And now that it's going so well from a technical point of view, I'm probably going to be here a lot. I may decide to stream simultaneously both to Facebook and to YouTube. I'll probably experiment with that. And Rob said, how can there be another person when the Democrats already agreed to nominate Nancy? That's a good question, Rob. Here's how that can be. Okay. There can be a first ballot where Nancy fails to get a majority of the quorum. She needs a majority of the quorum, or she cannot get elected. Now, there's one exception to that question. I'll go into that, a little bit later. But the important thing is that she can be defeated on the first ballot. Oh, yes, I know you hate Facebook. But if I live stream to both, then you can see me on YouTube. But anyway, I don't know if I will live stream to both. I think if this goes well, I may just continue to live stream to YouTube all the time. So the point is, if she is stalemated in the first round because she needs to get the squad votes, then she's going to have to go for a second ballot. Between the first ballot and the second ballot, of course, lots of pressure is going to be put on the squad to fold. If they stand firm, the same thing happens on the second ballot, there'll be even more pressure. If the same thing happens on the third ballot, there will be even more pressure. If they fail to fold on the third ballot, there's going to be internal jockeying inside of the Democratic Party. People will be asking the question, can Nancy Pelosi, can she really get a majority of the quorum? Can she really be elected Speaker? And the internal discussions will force people to come to the conclusion, if she can't crack the squad, she can't get elected. She needs the squad, or she can't get elected. That's all. That's what the numbers are going to say. That is what they're going to say. Sooner or later, they're going to have to say, I'm sorry, Nancy. We have to give someone else a chance to be Speaker. Neither you nor Kevin McCarthy can be Speaker. We have to put up someone else to be Speaker. And then they're going to open the floor to other people. Other people will begin to stick their heads up. And some people will put their names in as potential speakers. Some people are going to nominate them. And Rob asked the question, doesn't every Democrat, Nancy, as Pelosi is the big fundraiser and gives almost every Democrat in the House money, those Democrats owe Nancy too much. Look, I don't think Nancy was giving them bucks to be charitable. She was giving them bucks in return for their support. Now they will continue to support her for a time. But if they can't crack the squad, at some point, they're going to have to give up. Now, how many ballots can they have? I can tell you, Rob, at one time in the history of the House, there were as many as 129 ballots for Speaker because they couldn't agree. They couldn't agree. But that was in pre-Civil War days. It was in 1856. Now Now, these are modern times. There will likely be TV cameras. There's going to be a lot of people watching the election, talking about how the squad is making a fight of it, how they don't intend to, but to knuckle under to Nancy Pelosi. And there's going to be pressure on the Democrats to get it over with. The House can't be in limbo. It has lots of business to do. That pressure is going to build fast because with the media in modern times, pressure like that really builds fast. The more ballots it takes, the more silly the House is going to look. The more silly they're going to look. If she can't get a majority, she can't get a majority. Why is she not able to get a majority? I'm going to tell you, Rob. She won't be able to get a majority because she lost 10 seats in the election of 2020. It's because she was a loser. She failed to perform. Her big fundraising was not the answer. She's a failure. A failure. Rob says they're all going to all get in line, and if they don't, Obama will be calling them. Too bad for Obama. He doesn't have those 8 votes. He can't do anything without those 8 votes. Yeah, those people are going to go crazy, undoubtedly. They won't know what to do. They've been knuckling under for so long, they won't know what to do. But the basic point is, if you can't get a majority of the quorum, she can't get a majority of the forum. That's it. So let's say they try for 5 ballots, for 6 ballots. She still can't get a majority of the forum. How long is it going to be before Rosa DeLauro, Jan Schakowsky, Karen Bass, and hopefully Barbara Lee throw their hats into the ring? How long is it going to be before other popular Democrats in the center of the caucus? Remember, Nancy Pelosi is no longer in the center of the Democratic caucus. In recent years, when it comes to social and economic justice programs and to Green New Deal, she's been right of center within the Democratic caucus. She hasn't been as far over as the problem solvers. But hell, she supported the TPP. I shouldn't say that. She didn't explicitly support it. She was neutral. 160 of her caucus members were against the TPP, but she was neutral. Neutral when 160 of your caucus is for something? That's not neutrality. That's the false kind of neutrality that privileges 28 members of your caucus over the other 160. Finally, she voted against the TPP, but not before she allowed 28 members of her caucus to vote for Trade Promotion Authority. She allowed them to defect to the Republican side and pass the TPA, which gave Trump a free hand to renegotiate NAFTA the way he wanted to renegotiate NAFTA. Now, I have to say, he got a little better treaty than NAFTA was, but not as good as the fair trade kinds of Democrats would have gotten. had Trump but never gotten elected. One of the reasons why he got elected was because the Democrats were perceived as being for the TPP. Why? When 160 members of the caucus are against it and only 28 are for it, why were Democrats perceived as being for it? Because of Nancy Pelosi's leadership and Obama's leadership and Hillary Clinton's leadership. That's why. Anyway, I don't know how many ballots it's going to take, but with the world watching and with the media pressing and with the reputation of the House on the line, they can't go through too many ballots. This is not 1856. It is 2021, or will be 2021. And they're going to have to make a decision, probably on the first day of balloting, on January 3rd. They're going to have to agree on somebody who the progressives feel will give them floor votes on key issues, good committee assignments, changes in key procedure, like getting rid of pay-go. There will be people who will come forward who will be willing to make that kind of deal with the progressives, who the progressives will be able to trust. If Nancy Pelosi offered such a deal right now, I would still say replace her, because I don't think we can replace her. I don't think she would agree in good faith. We need a speaker who's going to replace Richie Neal on Ways and Means. That's going to have to happen. Nana says, I encourage you all to watch the previous, posted a few hours ago, lots of info. Rob says, thank you, Lana. I'm really loving how the Democrats are accepting by corporate immunity. It's such a beautiful thing to see. Thank you for the sarcasm, Rob. I feel the same way you do about it. Another reason why we should get rid of Nancy Pelosi. Rob says, no, the squad is making deals in secret. We can't know what these deals are, and it's best we don't know. Rob, I do not believe that baloney sausage for a minute. First of all, the influence of the squad is the strongest when the public is behind the squad, and the public can't be behind the squad if the squad is doing deals in secret. We can't just think, let's trust the squad. Why can't we? Because too many people who've claimed to be on our side in the past have proven not to be on our side. How do you prove that you're on our side? You fight for our priorities publicly. You fight for our priorities, and you fight for our priorities with power and with threats. The squad has to say what it's for, and it has to say what it is trading for, so we can have a say in whether it's making a good deal or not. Let's take Jimmy Dore. Jimmy comes out, and bless his heart, because he started all this. He says, let's trade the squad votes for Medicare for all. He didn't even say that. He said for a floor vote, on Medicare for all. And I say, no, that's not right. That's too cheap a trade. Much too cheap a trade. Lana says, unless Nancy has 216 or Kevin McCarthy, neither gets elected, right? Okay, Lana has asked the question, so I'm going to bring up a little, hang on a second. I'm going to bring up a chart for you now. I did this in the other video too, but as long as they're asking the question here, I might have realized I was going to have to bring it up. So here are the assumptions in this particular chart. If we assume that when all is said and done, and the Anthony Brindisi, his contest for Congress is not fully determined. We're not sure whether he's going to win yet, but I believe, even including Anthony Brindisi, that there are 222 Democratic votes coming into this particular Congress. 8 of those votes are squad votes. There might be other people who would join the squad for these votes, like Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal. It's possible Pocan would join. It's possible Jamie Raskin might join. But Garamendi could join. So, but there are certainly 200. I'm going to assume that everybody else is going to go with Nancy Pelosi except the squad members. That makes 214 votes for Pelosi. On the first ballot, let's suppose that all the squad members just absent themselves from the quorum vote, that there are no squad votes. Then there are going to be 213 votes for Kevin McCarthy. Total quorum votes will be 427. In that scenario, Nancy Pelosi would win. She'd win by 1 point, 214 to 213. Now, same scenario, but with one change. One of the squad members joins the quorum and votes present. Then the non-Pelosi votes, the 213 for Kevin McCarthy, and the one squad vote will produce a tie, a dead tie, 214 to 214, total quorum votes 428. That's going to stalemate on Nancy Pelosi, 214 to 214. In that scenario, Nancy Pelosi doesn't win the first ballot. Let's say on that first ballot, 2 squad votes get cast as present, and the other 6 are absent. Then the non-Pelosi votes would be more than the Pelosi votes. The vote would be 215 to 214 out of 429 votes. That is 429 votes. And the non-Pelosi votes would have it. What if 3 squad members came and voted present? Then we would have 216 to 214. What if 4 squad members came and voted present and the other 4 were absent? The other 4 don't even have to declare themselves. If 4 say present, then Pelosi's behind 217 to 214. Now, here's definitely winning scenarios. What if 5 of the squad votes say present? Then the non-Pelosi votes are 218 to 214. Even if Pelosi were to convince the absent squad members to go over to her side, she would still lose 218 to 217. In other words, if there are 5 members of the squad who stand firm and will not go over to Pelosi, she can't get a majority. Going further down the list here, if all 8 of the squad members come and cast a present vote, then the votes for Pelosi remain at 214, and the non-Pelosi votes are at 221. Total votes in the quorum, 435. If things stay that way for 3 ballots, people will conclude there's no way Nancy Pelosi can shift those votes. She can't get the squad votes. She's out. We have to find a speaker who can get a majority of quorum votes. Why won't she be able to get a majority of the quorum votes? Well, when it came to bringing Medicare for All to the floor in this last session, she was intransigent. She would not bring Medicare for All to the floor. When it came to including the progressives with respect to negotiation of the CARES Act, she would not do that. And she botched up the negotiation for the CARES Act. Something awful. That's why we don't have our relief checks today. You know how much that's cost us? You know how much it's cost us that she never put up and passed and pressured for passage of the Automatic Boost to Communities Act? It cost us 9 months at $2,000 a month per person. For my family, that was $36,000 that her leadership cost me. Don't tell me it wouldn't have passed anyway. I don't know what would have happened if the whole House, with a big majority, had come down in favor of the Automatic Boost to Communities Act instead of the CARES Act. I don't know what kind of outcome would have happened if she had been fighting with Mitch McConnell on that basis. If she had tried to negotiate with him a compromise, saying simply, look, you want a $4.6 trillion money cannon for your big business people? Fine. I'll trade you that. But you give me the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. We got to have that. You're not getting the money cannon if you don't have that. And if you don't get that money cannon to back the big business people, they're collapsing. They're going to collapse. So let me get back to your questions now. Oh, did I fail to share this? I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I did fail to share this. That's really incompetent of me. Hang on a second. Let me get that back. So at least you can see the chart. Okay. I believe that's it. Yeah, there it is. Can you see it now? Okay, let me go over it again very briefly. Let me give you the whole chart, okay, to take a look at. There are all the assumptions laid out in the chart. It explains the 213 votes for McCarthy 214 but for Pelosi, 8 votes on the squad side. The squad could be absent or could be voting present. And these are the variations in the quorum size and the size of the non-Pelosi vote. Okay, remember, voting proceeds for as many ballots as it takes to get a majority to make a speaker. That's what it's about. When you reach the situation where there are 5 members who are producing 218 votes, 218 non-Pelosi votes, she can't get a majority anymore. Kevin McCarthy is not going to let any of his people vote for her. If the 5 squad members stand firm, Nancy Pelosi can't get the 218 she needs. It's right there. That's what's going to happen. Okay, going back to your other questions now. So, Lana, that was, Kate, in answer to your question. Yes, the GOP has 213 hard votes. Okay, and I'm assuming Nancy has 214 hard votes. I'm assuming she can bludgeon all the other Democrats, except for squad members, to vote for her. By the way, if that assumption is not true, okay, if that assumption is not the case, then there are going to have to be votes to prevent Kevin McCarthy from getting the speakership. We'll have to watch that as it's going down very carefully, okay, in order to know what's going to happen. Hi, honey.
I can't get you.
Oh, that's because I'm not on Facebook. Okay, I'm on YouTube.
I know I'm on YouTube.
And are you at...
It's starting from the very beginning.
No, I don't know why. It seems to be doing okay here.
We got 85 people now.
What? 85 people on YouTube? It says there are only 7 people. Anyway. Okay. So Rob says, Nancy is maybe a loser and a failure, but she's a national treasure. Rob. Laura says, I think doing both Facebook and YouTube would be better. Kay is missing the show tonight. Well, she'll be able to see the video, but I will try. I will try to arrange that. I wasn't confident enough of being able to do it. Technically, I'm supposed to have the capability to do that. So I might be able to do them both at the same time. And my problem is, I don't know, since this was a Q&A, I don't know whether I'd be able to see the chat in both at the same time and respond to the chats. I have to try that out. I have to experiment some more. As I said at the beginning, I've never streamed live to YouTube before. Lana says, more like a national noxious weed. Yes. There's nothing to worry. Pelosi will be speaker. Barbara Lee is trash. She's my congresswoman, has done very little for the Bay Area unless it was something for big tech. Well, in a way, Rob, that doesn't matter. What matters is that the new speaker be open to all segments of the Democratic Party and to be really neutral and give the various sides of the Democratic Party floor votes when they need to have the floor votes, and to give younger people good committee assignments and they need to get rid of people who have been selling out to corporate donors. Of course, when I say get rid of them, I don't mean throw them out of the Congress. What I mean is to get them out of positions of power on the committees. We need somebody who's going to try to bring the party back around to get it away from the donors. Now, whether Barbara Lee is that person, I don't know. That's up for the squad, okay, to determine when it tries to negotiate deals with a new speaker candidate. Now, I'm not here to hold a brief before Barbara Lee based on what I know about her. Okay, I certainly like her. But I have an open mind about that. Maybe Jan Schakowsky would be better, or Rosa DeLauro, okay, or Karen Bass, or Lloyd Doggett. He's a really bright guy and really has good values. He might be really, really good. And Lana says, what date does the speaker vote happen? It happens January 3rd. Teresa Sanders says, perfect, Joe. Get some to cut it right there. Great presentation. On point. Excited. Ciao for now. Oh, you mean to cut it at 9:26? I could do that. I could get a cut, okay, at 9:26. But this is a Q&A, so I got to keep going. I'll keep going, but if you're saying cut a short video, okay, 9:26, Teresa, I could do that. Rob says, Yoda, I understand your view, but Democrats in the Progressive Caucus, whatever that even means, to not vote for Nancy, it's a stupid strategy. We should just see and wait and see what comes out of the secret deals. Rob, you're kidding me. I know you're kidding me, Rob. Hey, Rob, you can't call me Yoda if I never pull my light sword out. That one got to Bonnie. So Lana says, we are tweeting the hashtag, whatever pertinent info, vote present until you replace Pelosi, and tagging at the original and new squad plus other allies. Okay, original squad, AOC, Ilhan, Ayanna Pressley, and don't forget Rashida. She's the biggest fire eater of them all. She's the dragon, the lady dragon. Rob says, see, demanding something for you vote is the dumbest idea ever. I know they're public servants and should be treated as such. Does not mean we should be extracting anything for our votes. And Lana says, and Rashida Tlaib, new squad, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Mondaire Jones, Marie Newman. And we all got to see whether Joe Neguse wants to join. Who's Joe Neguse? He's from Colorado. Rob says, no, Yoda, following for what I believe in is the wrong strategy. Let's wait and see, says Rob. Okay, and Lena says, correction, hashtag is hashtag replace Pelosi. Rob R says, I mean, the thought of demanding something from public servants is ridiculous. Public servants don't owe us anything. Lana says, are we sure our tweeting is enough to get their attention? I definitely think we need to at them and the allies with your two videos, this one and the earlier one today. How about the earlier one 1 week ago? The shortcake, and it wasn't so short, but I thought that was a pretty good one too. Steve Wolfbrand said, hi, Doc. Hi, Steve. Lana says, other allies to tag, Ro Khanna, Mark Pocan, Raul Grijalva. There's one, Raul Grijalva. He might join the squad for this one. Katie Porter, Karen Bass. I don't think Katie will join. Not on the first ballot. Karen Bass, Barbara Lee, Joe Neguse, Andy Levin, Mark Levin. I'm sorry, Mike Levin, not Mark Levin. And Rosa DeLauro. Actually, Mark Levin lost, right? He ran in Texas, and he unfortunately lost. He would have been a real good one for the squad. And Rosa DeLauro, Al Green, Jan Schakowsky, Pramila Jayapal. Yeah. Steve Wolprant says, can't find you on Facebook. I'm not streaming to Facebook right now. I'm only streaming to YouTube. I'll have the video up on Facebook later tonight, but I decided to try streaming to YouTube for a change because I've been carrying on a Twitter campaign with Lana. Okay, and Lana's no longer on Facebook, so I thought
See how it was going to work.
I would see how this would work. And Lana says, other allies continue. John Garamendi, Debbie Dingo, Chewy Garcia, Johanna Hayes, Lucy McBath, not Macbeth, McBath, Lloyd Doggett, Peter DeFazio, Mark Takano. Good list, Lana. Why are we on YouTube? We are on YouTube because we've been promoting this on Twitter, and because lots of people on Twitter don't go on Facebook anymore, and so we wanted them to be able to view this on a platform that might be more neutral. Okay, and this was the Q&A. I got a lot of questions from people on Twitter, so naturally I'm trying to answer those questions at a place which is more accessible to them. Lana says, someone on Twitter brought up these people voted no for Pelosi last time. Kathleen Rice, Connor Lamb, Jason Crow, Jared Golden, Ron Kind, and Anthony Brindisi. Do you remember that? Sound right? It sounds right. Jared Golden, by Jared Golden of Maine. I'm not sure where he fits in. He is not like the others. Kathleen Rice, Connor Lamb, Jason Crow, Ron Kind, Anthony Brindisi. They're all kind of on the right, okay, of the Democratic Party. They all are right of center. I seem to remember Jared Golden is more progressive than that. So I'd like to know why he voted no. He might be someone who would join with the squad. Lana says, Lucy McBath wants to go Shakespeare. Okay, any more questions? Any more Q&A? Okay, then I'm going to improvise a little bit. If you don't have any more questions, what I'm going to do is go through some questions and some answers that I've already given because people ask for the questions and answers. Okay, first of all, what's the day of the vote? It's January 3rd, 2021. Is it public? Yes. It should be on C-SPAN, but that's going to depend on whether the House wants C-SPAN to do it or not. And then, are 5 votes needed to block Nancy Pelosi? And I said, in answer to that, that depends on various assumptions. See the previous table. Someone asked, what if another unsatisfactory choice is nominated? What is the plan then? It's the same plan. You rinse and repeat until the right choice is considered. Okay, but what is the right choice? The right choice is someone who will be open to the progressive priorities. It's too much to hope for. In other words, it's not going to be one of the squad, okay, is going to win. It's probably not going to be Ro Khanna, though he has a little better chance. It's probably not going to be Jayapal yet. Those are all too lefty. It probably won't be Grijalva. He's too lefty also. Okay. It's probably going to have to be someone in the middle of the caucus who has cordial relations with the righties in the caucus and also with the squad. That's the kind of candidate. But someone who's willing to get rid of pay-go, who's willing to put the Medicare for All bill on the floor, who's willing to get rid, okay, of Richie Neal, who's willing to hold a floor vote on the Green New Deal resolution and on various bills for the Green New Deal, who's ready to hold a floor vote for Rashida's Automatic Boost to Community Act. It's actually been introduced by Rashida and Jayapal jointly. We also need someone who will support the Jayapal bill to protect the actual payrolls of people, keep them attached to their businesses. Someone asked, what if the effort fails? Then squad people will get lousy committee assignments. They'll be banished to congressional Siberia. And what is the hashtag for the campaign? Hashtag replace Pelosi. How can we avoid Kevin McCarthy getting elected? Always make sure Pelosi has more than 213 votes. Always make sure that she never falls to 213 votes, that she always gets to 214 votes. And make sure the quorum is sufficiently large that 214 votes, okay, is not a majority. That was covered in that chart. What's the difference between this proposal and Jimmy Dore's? If successful, you get multiple floor votes, changes in procedural rules, and better committee assignments, as well as a speaker who's not going to dismiss the progressives and progressive ideas. That may be the most important, okay, of all the requirements. But those are the benefits, okay, that would come about. What's the difference between by this proposal and by David Sirota's proposal? Well, this is more broad gauge, and this says Nancy Pelosi has to go because we cannot trust her. And David is still ready to deal with her. So this proposal doesn't deal with her. It says out. It says we can get a better deal from anybody else who stands than we can get, okay, from Nancy Pelosi. Tell you the truth, folks, I think we might even be able to get a better deal from Tim Ryan than we can from Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't care for Tim, but boy, when it comes to the economic side of things, he might well be more progressive than Nancy Pelosi. I don't know. That's a debatable point. And that's, I just stated a far out view that I don't have any confidence in. But the others I named earlier, I'm pretty sure that from the progressive point of view and the squad point of view, every one of them would make a better speaker than Nancy Pelosi. As far as I'm concerned, there's no merit left to her at all. Okay, I'm going back to your questions now. Rob R. says, I've never understood why Barbara Lee gets praised. I've lived in the Bay Area for just around 20 years, and since I've been here, the homeless problem is so bad. I never got why she never appropriated any funding. Well, maybe it wasn't up to her for social programs for the Bay Area. I don't think Barbara Lee has been particularly adept at the internal politics of things, and that may be an argument against her becoming the speaker. I think the squad liked her because of the courageous stand she took when it came to the Iraq War. She was really courageous. And I know Bernie Sanders really likes her for the various positions she has taken on foreign policy. Okay, Lana says Barbara Lee seems to be centrist, but maybe will work better with the progressives. She's not centrist on foreign policy. She's very lefty when it comes to foreign policy. That's a very important area. And of course, when it comes to social justice, she's also very good. When it comes to economic justice, that's where she seems to be more centrist. But she might very well be ready to work with the progressives. And maybe that's why the squad favored her when they first came into the Congress in 2019. It may be that they know that. Steve Wolfbrand says, Doc, have you seen the new UFO documentary, The Phenomenon? It's really good. $3.99, okay, on by YouTube. We have a principle in my family, Steve. We don't pay for YouTubes. We don't pay for YouTubes. We wait for them to get sufficiently old that we don't have to pay. We've been waiting a long time for certain things, but we'll continue to wait. We don't drop our pennies on YouTube. So Rob says, I wonder who is going to be Nancy's number 2. I hope it's Hakeem Jeffries. Oh, God. Well, I suppose Hakeem Jeffries is her favored successor, but of course the same thing applies to him. He won't be able to get to 218 either. He will get fewer votes for the 218. He will get even less close to 218. We'd have to prop him up so he would not lose to Kevin McCarthy. We'd have to make sure that he got at least 214 votes, because Hakeem Jeffries would not only lose the squad, he could lose quite a few others apart from the squad. Okay, I think in the end, only the squad will be lost, okay, to Nancy Pelosi. Who is Tim Ryan? Tim Ryan is a representative from Ohio who's he's kind of a union candidate. He's always been, okay, a union candidate. He's sort of a common man type of thing. He ran for president this time, but he was really on the right side of that very large stage with all the people in it. He's a little crazy when it comes to fiscal responsibility, but I don't think he's really an Austerian that couldn't be persuaded. It all depends on whether you'd get him bills that are good for labor. He's a creature of labor. Okay. Without labor, he would not get elected to the Congress. He says Jimmy has certainly been getting a lot of attention. He has. And it is deserved. After all, he was the one who had the guts to come out with this in the first place. Rob says, I like Tim Ryan. He's in favor of right to work. No, he's not. He's not in favor of right to work. He's for bank deregulation and against abortion. He'd be a great fit. No, I don't think. He is very conservative on the social issues. he may well be against abortion. I don't really know where he stands, okay, on abortion. I don't think he's much of a feminist, okay, either. But I don't think you're right about his being opposed to unions. I think he's a creature of the unions.
Wasn't there a woman that Pelosi said was her stand-in or something?
Yeah. So Pelosi recently got elected or nominated for assistant speaker for her team. Catherine Clark, who is a Massachusetts representative. But Catherine Clark is pretty progressive. She was co-sponsor of the Green New Deal and a co-sponsor of Medicare for All, too. She might be someone who was acceptable to the rightists in the caucus and also to the squad, and who Pelosi would find acceptable also. Okay, so are there any more questions? Okay, if there are none, then I'm going to call it a night. And I will post this up to Facebook and give people a chance over there. And so they can see the video too.
And we have to get ready for the snowstorm.
So thank you for coming. But Bonnie says we have to get ready for the snowstorm, which is evidently coming tomorrow early in the morning, according to the current forecasts. I'm sure we'll wake up and there won't be any snow on the ground yet, because they're always wrong in this area about what the weather's going to be.
Yeah.
It's the mountains or something. It puts them off. So thank you very much. Solana says, thank you. # replace Pelosi. # replace Pelosi indeed.
Thank you, Lana.
Thank you, Lana. Thank you very much for helping with this, for joining me in getting this done. We've been getting it done. Hopefully things will explode on Twitter. And thank you, Dolores, for sharing. And thank you, Deborah, as well. Thank you, Rob, for coming, for contributing your insights. And thank you, Teresa, for coming. It was a nice chat. I enjoyed it. I think next time I will try simultaneously streaming to YouTube and to Facebook. So thank you and have a very good night, everybody. Oops, a few more comments. Rob says, I never understood why Robert Lee got so much praise. The homeless problem, displaced persons, education, other social programs. She never gets funding for the gray area. There are literally families. Lana says, the weather in CBO. Steve Wolfman says, can you get super chat donations over here? I can't get super chats until I have 1,000 subscribers here. At 1,000 subscribers, I can get the donation. So it's a long way. I think I've got something like 78 subscribers on YouTube. Something like that. So it's very small. But if I don't get started, okay, on YouTube, then I'll never get to the 1,000 subscribers, right? And I'll never be able to get super chat donations here. Rob says there are literally families living in the street. This was before COVID and post-COVID. Oh my God, it's so sad. It breaks my heart to see little babies living in tents. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that over here yet. We may be, but we're not seeing it yet. Not in Ashburn, Virginia. Which we understand, well, we understand Loudoun County is currently technically the wealthiest county in the United States on certain measures. I can't believe it's the wealthiest county in the United States.
Doesn't look like it.
No, it just looks like looks like a middle class type of suburb. That's all.
With a lot of stores.
With a lot of stores, okay, and a lot of shopping. All kinds of shopping. But of course, the stores have been closing. Okay, I'm ending the broadcast. Thank you again for coming. Have a good night, folks.